So what happens to human souls in a universe where the god of the underworld is a banished, vengeful serpent, and the god of evil is hammering out dark minions in a subterranean forge? You get the Strigoi. But to truly understand what the Strigoi was, you need to understand that this was not a single, simple creature. The Slavic and Romanian traditions drew a precise and terrifying taxonomy. The Strigoi Viu, the living witch, a person already touched by dark forces while still alive. These were individuals born under specific cursed conditions, born with a caul over their face, born out of wedlock, or born as the seventh child in an unbroken line. They were believed to be capable of sending out their soul at night to feed on the living while their body lay sleeping, a vampire before death. But far more feared was the Strigoi Mort, the undead. These were the dead who came back, and the conditions that created one were devastatingly easy to meet. Dying unbaptized, dying by suicide, being excommunicated by the church, being buried improperly, face up when you should have been face down, being the victim of a curse, or simply being loved too much by people who could not let you go. The Strigoi Mort did not glide through castle corridors. It did not seduce. It did not offer immortality. It came home. Imagine the sheer, suffocating terror. It is the dead of winter in a freezing Balkan village. A family member dies suddenly. A plague, an accident, a fever that took them in the night. The priest says the words, the body goes in the ground. 3 nights later, you wake up in absolute darkness. There is a weight on your chest, heavy, wet, rotting. The soil-caked hands of your deceased father are wrapped around your throat, squeezing the life from your body. Not feral, not mindless, purposeful. It knows you. It specifically came for you. The folk countermeasures against the Strigoi reveal just how seriously this terror was taken. Iron nails driven through the skull. The body buried face down so that if it tried to claw upward, it would dig deeper into the earth. Poppy seeds scattered in the grave. The Strigoi compelled to count every seed before it could rise, buying the living until dawn. The hamstrings cut so it could not walk. Garlic packed into every orifice. These were not metaphors. These were performed on real bodies by real people who genuinely believed their lives depended on it. But then the 18th century arrived, and the horror stopped being folklore. It became government paperwork. In 1725, in the small Serbian village of Kisiljevo, a man named Peter Plogojevic died. Within 8 days, 9 of his neighbors were dead. Each of them, before dying, reported the same thing, that Plogojevic had come to them in the night and seized them by the throat. Imperial Austrian authorities were dispatched to investigate. When the body was exhumed, the official report noted that the corpse showed almost no signs of decomposition. Fresh blood had seeped from its mouth. The skin beneath the old skin was new, pink. The authorities authorized the villagers to proceed. The body was staked through the heart. Fresh blood, described in the official report as, quote, wild, poured from the wound. The corpse was burned. But the case that shook the Habsburg Empire, that put the word vampire into the vocabulary of educated Europeans for the first time, came 1 year later, 1726. The village of Medveja, Serbia. A soldier named Arnold Pauli had returned from service in the Ottoman territories, claiming he had been attacked by a vampire while stationed abroad. He performed the folk remedies, eating soil from the vampire's grave, smearing himself with the creature's blood. He seemed fine. He returned home, fell off a hay wagon, and died of his injuries. Within weeks, villagers began dying. Before they died, they reported being visited at night by Arnold Pauli. Imperial Serbian army surgeon Johann Flukinger was dispatched to investigate. What followed was one of the most extraordinary official documents in European history. Flukinger's report, Visum et Repertum, meaning seen and discovered, methodically describes the exhumation of 17 bodies, including Pauli. The language is bureaucratic, medical, which makes it so much worse. The body of Arnold Pauli, exhumed 40 days after burial, quote, found to be quite complete and undecayed. The skin had separated, but beneath it was fresh new skin. The old blood in the veins had not putrefied, but was fluid. The corpse bled profusely upon being moved. The committee staked the body. It, as the report states, groaned. Today, modern science understands exactly what Flukinger observed. Bloating from decomposition gases creates the appearance of a fed, full body. Skin slippage produces what looks like new skin beneath. Internal pressure forces blood from the mouth and nose. Movement of the body during exhumation can force trapped gases through the larynx, producing sounds indistinguishable from a groan. To a terrified village in the dead of a Balkan winter, with people dying all around them, in an era before germ theory, before any understanding of disease transmission, this was absolute, undeniable proof. As the centuries passed, the ancient pagan world collided head-on with a new religious empire. Following Christianization throughout the early and high Middle Ages, the Church moved with strategic, deliberate precision to absorb and neutralize the old beliefs. Perun, the thunder god who wielded an axe and commanded storms from mountain peaks, was syncretized with the prophet Elijah, who, in the Eastern Orthodox tradition, rides a fiery chariot across the sky and controls the rains. The feast days aligned, the sacred sites overlapped. The peasants kept their thunder god, the Church simply renamed him. And Veles, the serpent, the coiled dragon in the roots of the world tree, the deceiver who disguised himself to corrupt the bride of heaven, became the template for something the Church already had a name for: the devil. The serpent in the Garden of Eden reads completely differently once you understand Veles. The demonization was not coincidental, it was architectural. The Church took what the Slavic peasant already feared and handed it a Christian face. And Chernobog, the dark smith, the forger of monsters, was absorbed into the Christian concept of hell itself. A place of fire, of forging, of darkness beneath the earth. The imagery was already there. It simply needed a new theology wrapped around it. But no matter how many crosses they planted, no matter how many saints they placed where the old gods once stood. The peasants knew the truth of the soil. The Strigoi belonged to the old world, a world of vengeance, magic, and rot. And it survived Christianization because the church, for all its power, could not explain away a bloated corpse, could not theologically resolve a dead man's hands around a living woman's throat, could not give a satisfying Christian answer to why your father came back. The folk remedies persisted. The exhumations continued. The terror was older than the church, and it would outlast it. The vampire we know today, the charming aristocrat, the romantic immortal, the creature of seduction, is a Victorian invention. It is Bram Stoker filtered through the anxieties of industrial England, dressed in a costume borrowed from Eastern European woman. But beneath that costume, beneath the velvet and the castle and the operatic tragedy, there is mud. There is a shallow grave in a Balkan forest. There is a cosmology where evil is not metaphorical, where it is forged on an anvil by a faceless god in a subterranean forge, where the ruler of the underworld is a banished serpent who still reaches upward with patient, cold intelligence, where the dead do not rest because the universe itself is not at rest. The Strigoi was not born from a writer's imagination. It was born from real human fear, from the darkness inside a house where someone you loved had just died, from the primitive, unshakable terror that death is not a wall, but a door, and that something on the other side of that door remembers your face. The next time you see a vampire on a movie screen, charming, immortal, existing comfortably in the modern world, remember Arnold Pauli. Remember the bureaucratic horror of visum et repertum. Remember an imperial army surgeon writing calm clinical sentences about a dead man who bled when he was staked and groaned when he was moved. Remember the Strigoi, the suffocating grip of a vengeful corpse in the dead of the Balkan night, crawling from a grave, not to rule the world, but to come home. These are the true, untamed horrors, born from the eternal war between the sky and the underworld, born from a cosmology where darkness is not a force to be defeated, but a force to be endured forever by every generation of the living. If you want to go deeper, past the sanitized myths of the West and into the untold hidden mythological pantheons, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below. Tell us, which forgotten god are you secretly praying doesn't wake up?